11.2, the future of property markets. So there are at least 6 major forces which help shape the future of property markets. Technologies, government, developers, owners, users, and professionals. So all of you will play an important part in shaping the future of the property markets. So there are various uncertainties in the future of our property markets. Say, for example, the retail property in recent decades, because of the emergence of e-shopping and internet, less and less retail space is required. And according to these reports, they also suggest that the future of retail is mixed use, and the shopping mall would be retrofitted to become alternate uses such as co-working, residential, or cultural facilities. So it becomes a mixed use mall rather than a shopping mall. Then how about office? The future of office property, similar to the retail, more and more people would work at home and co-working space. Thus, less and less office space would be required. According to the international ranking, New Zealand ranked number 4 in the co-working growth per capita, and Luxembourg ranked the first. And the time series of the co-working space changes worldwide shows an increasing pattern from just about 7,800 something co-working space in year 2015 up to 26,000 predicted in 2022. Hotel property would also be largely replaced by Airbnb. And here you will find that indeed Airbnb amounts to almost 3 million, which outnumbers all the biggest hotel operators. Similarly, car parking property would also be affected by technologies. You must still remember, in last module, we have talked about CAM, the driverless cars. So when we have more sophisticated CAM system, then less and less car parks and roads would be required. And you will find that indeed many cities are starting to either stall the increase of parking space or even banning diesel cars. And here shows you Paris. Start in 2003, the city began eliminating on-street parking and replaced it by underground facilities. And Bristol, which is probably the first UK city to ban diesel cars by 2021. Then how about property professionals? First, artificial intelligence help and facilitate property professionals to carry out more accurate and professional tasks. And we have to understand about the future trend of our cityscape so as to realize about the future of our urban planning and the job of urban planner. It's more and more difficult to apply land use zoning because retail become mixed use, hotel would be replaced by Airbnb, but Airbnb indeed cannot be differentiated whether it is residential or hotel or service apartment. Office space will be replaced by home office or co-working space. That means, right, it can be a home or it can be an office. So because of these technological changes, land use zoning would very soon be outdated and everywhere would be designated as mixed use. When land use zoning does not work, then I suggest to start researching a change from land use planning to interaction planning. How about institutional property then? Institutional property, I mean schools, universities, libraries, hospitals, clinics, parks, and gardens. All these are public or open to public use area. So my estimation is less and less schools, universities, libraries would be required. They would be replaced by e-libraries, e-university, and e-schools. But hospitals and clinics would be increased because of the aging trend and also the pandemic and the concerns of health. And thirdly, parks and gardens would also be increased because people would prefer to have more open space for their leisure. I put this future campus as an example that in the coming future, the campus of universities can become similar to the Y factory. So education and research are combined in a research lab and provide a platform that does not only aim to teach, but it helps students to acquire the skills to analyze, theorize, and construct future citizens. So students come to work together with the professors instead of come to learn. So that is co-creation of knowledge that we are doing in this course. So we are shaping the future of our cities, and you would be the pioneer. Then lastly, of course, we have to talk about the housing property, right? Anyone still have to live. Then how about housing? The trend of housing property because of the aging world and also the unaffordability of housing. So we will find more and more nano flats, smaller and smaller in size, and also many new supply of housing because when more and more owners, are baby boomers, they are passing away. Housing, would become money because it is not just for accommodation, but storage of wealth. The Guardian report, the super rich buys houses in London, not for accommodation, but indeed it is for storage of wealth. And the logistic probably. So I think logistics space, including storage, warehouse, would be increasing because of the e-shopping, So then the logistic would become sparse and they need a more logistic space to provide intermittent storage. I joined a WTO meeting 2 years ago, and they admitted that because of e-shopping, they are facing difficulty in imposing customs control and levying taxes. The last part is about the future of indirect real estate investment vehicles. So currently, I do have a REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, mortgage-backed securities, MBS. We can buy futures, and we will also go into some details about CDO and CDS. So what do we mean by indirect real estate investment vehicles? In the past, only those physical structure, tangible real estate can be invested, and that's the reason why we call it real. But then when they become more and more expensive, people invent new vehicles to invest in real estate. So we have a lot of documents. Say, for example, mortgage is a kind of collateral and loans on real estate property. In the past 50 years, we had a lot of investment on mortgage. And so MBS, say, for example, mortgage-backed securities, are securities on mortgage. But then what do we mean by CDO and CDS? Say, for example, when they combine thousands of mortgages into one package, trench these piles of mortgages into slices, just like this diagram. Originally, we can trace this mortgage on this house, then we can know about its value. But now, after putting thousands of mortgage into a can, and then put some of the contents out, then we do not know, right, what exactly is the ingredients. So that's the reason why it caused financial crisis. And here I saw the trend that in the past, direct real estate is more tangible and traceable. And then when you make mortgages investable, then it is a kind of leverage, and it caused subprime crisis because of the MBS, ABS, and CDO, CDS issues, because all of them will leverage. And here shows you what do we mean by a CDO. A CDO stands for a collateralized debt obligation, represent thousands of mortgages with real estate as the collaterals. But they trench these thousands of mortgage horizontally, not according to the building vertically, but horizontally based on the risk level. So here now they change into 3 different levels of risk. We like to buy a low risk, then lower return, that's the green one. And if you can bear higher risk, the red zone, then you will get higher return. But no one can trace what exactly are those houses or real estate characterizing this red zone CDO. And so the market participants relied on the credit rating agents to provide the credit rating for the analysis of its risk and return. When all these derivatives are very risky, then they invented another vehicle which is even more risky, but it provides insurance. So here the diagram shows you what do we mean by a CDS, a credit default swap. An investor, when they invest on an asset, then they worry just in case of any crisis, the price of the asset plummets. Can anyone pay him back for the losses? That is what we call CDS. When the asset price goes up, then the investors will earn a lot, but then he has to pay CDS spread to this CDS seller. But just in case if there is any default, then this seller would have to pay for the losses of this investor. So it worked like an insurance. But then, it's so difficult to figure out the risk level of CDS, and that's the reason why it caused the global financial crisis in the year 2008. Then how about our future of indirect real estate investment vehicles? Even though we had experienced a global financial crisis caused by all these alphabet soup, but unfortunately, in the past decade, we had similar alphabet soups again. Now we have CLO and CBO and even SFB CDO. Collateralized loan obligation is almost the same as CDO because loan and debt are almost the same. And here CBO collateralized bond obligation, and bond and loan and debt are similar vehicles. And here we also invented a new CDO called structured finance-backed CDO. That means instead of using debt as the collateral, SFB CDO make up by ABS, MBS rich debt. Will we encounter another global financial crisis in the coming years? So let's take a look about this YouTube, which shows another new technologies which can be applicable on our land transactions data registry. Blockchain is an algorithm for distributed data structure, managing electronic cash without any centralized administrator.